All right. We are going to go to day 5.
Hell yeah.
So what conversations do you want to continue today? And then I'll fill in. There's some logistical information that the crew had that Dailu and Orin can get now too. So the Forge Bunny was gifted to your group to travel back to Rodan. The other ships went back to Mekuna. Because this was the last ship leaving for Rodan, that's why you've got a mixed crew. It's anyone who wanted to go to Rodan. This was the last chance to do so. Because you actually sailed past the midpoint of the ocean and then turned back into it to get to the Dizzy Mother. It is a 45-day journey to get back to Rodan, and this is now day 5 of those 45 days.
How is Vane? Oh, there you go.
I would get Vane and Winterstorm together and start trying to figure out how if we can figure out specifics on the functionality of getting Epic out of this ring.
Winter I assume you give her all the information you gave the party?
Yeah.
Winter would thank you for understanding her. Winter would thank you for being honest with her, and she feels like part of the group, and you could tell that it's important to her. She would say, this kind of research is not going to happen overnight. The enchantment on an object like the Ring of the Ring of Mind Shielding it's not rare, it's not unique, but it is complex. We have to be very specific about what outcome you want. So she would ask, tell me exactly what you want to have happen at the end of this. And then the 3 of us can spend our free time for as long as it takes to make that happen.
I would say I want Epic out of it and dead. We need to ensure that he is passed on to whatever place souls pass on to where he can no longer grow. I don't know how much control we have over that, but...
And his soul has to be destroyed, right?
As much as one can be. That's the thing. I don't know how much control we're going to have over destroying him versus just kicking him out of a place where he can get more powerful.
Well, I guess...
but
I don't know.
If that's an option, yes, but...
If that is the means that we must use, then that is an acceptable means in this case, I believe. But that is not the goal.
Yeah, so Winter is asking you to restate the goal as clearly as possible.
Well, I would... Jared, tell me if this is not allowed. Because in my head, it is one of either 2 things, whichever one seems more feasible. Destroy Epic, or move him to a place where he can no longer gain power and is trapped forever, or pass on, or whatever.
Winter would say, in the study of magic, it is often not clear from the outset which option of 2 would be easier to achieve until it is fully understood. So we must pick which of those 2 we will follow to the end.
We need to have a conversation that he cannot overhear.
Yeah, you know what? Well, so here's a decision that you, Vane and Winter, you have to make. Do you want my help with this, and he'll know what you're doing, or do you want to do it on your own, and he won't?
I believe that it is unlikely that we will be able to conceal our progress on this research so long as you have the ring. And I also believe that it is going to be difficult for us to ensure that we do not yet have a plan for how to manage the ring if it is not on your finger. if we were able to remove the ring from you and secure it somewhere in some way, then I would prefer to have your cooperation.
We should do that.
I mean, we still have sovereign glue. We can stick it to something new.
Indeed. Does anyone have any suggestions?
Magic weapon.
That seems like something we would still have on us and would still be something that Epic would be able to hear from.
Also, I don't want to stick it to something with a sentience.
Important question. Did we bring Black Razor? Is Black Razor on this ship?
Black Razor is on this ship.
Okay, just checking.
Still in the box.
Yeah, Tyler was like,
Oh, I didn't describe that Vinaya's walking around with it.
Tyler was
I-
like,
You look into Vinaya's eyes and there's just a black sparkling.
No,
yeah.
no, we
Cool new flail.
call the box Vinaya's burden.
Tyler, the first time she sees that thing with Vinaya, kind of winces. It's like, ooh, be careful where you swing that. It really hurts.
So, why not
I will.
sovereign glue it to the Black Razor box? This can just be our. Go
Nope.
ahead.
Nope.
Did we restate the goal of the research to winter?
No.
Okay.
Well,
so-
the thing we're waiting on is deciding if I'm going to be there or not, because if I'm not, then I don't want to know what they end up
Okay.
doing.
Gotcha.
And before we can decide if we want him to be there, we have to figure out what we're doing with this ring, basically.
I see. So right now we're talking without Orin. Is that correct?
We can be,
No, he's
I think.
still there.
Orin, please leave the room. Like Thane
All
said.
right. The only thing I want to reiterate is I want to put my 2 cents of I feel like it's dangerous to just stick it to a thing that could also be potentially pulled through into the other thing, and then
That's
Indeed.
cool. Thanks,
do
Orin.
with that.
I
Do with
mean,
that. I'm looking at Vane.
Yeah,
I say, do
Vane
with that
nods.
what you will, and I walk away.
bye.
I message as I walk away. Please, to Vane, please lead this discussion, please.
Thane, what are your thoughts?
I think we should. He's out of the room, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should super glue it. Sorry. Sovereign glue it to the Black Razor box.
That
I
seems
think
like it
that-
could work if we were to, for example, seal it to beneath it or something like that.
I think that if there's ever a time, like we had a couple of times where this has happened before, where we need to go right now and we need to take that box with us, if the ring is somewhere else, we'll have to get 2 things now.
Indeed.
So if it's all super glued to one thing that we need, that'd be great.
Did Tara successfully put wheels on this box?
I'm just replacing super glue with sovereign glue in my head.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm gonna say no. I don't.
I
Did they?
I asked Tara to make
You-
the box either build like a sort of sledge thing for it or put wheels on it. I think you said she was putting wheels on it.
Okay.
I heard she was going to start, but
Okay.
we never got an update on that before.
Okay, so we will update it.
Yeah.
Let's say that what it has is wheels, but a wheeled box is, especially a wheeled heavy box, is the most dangerous thing on a ship. So you don't keep the wheels on it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
That
really
was
only a concern for when we get to land,
Right.
and I have to bring it somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah, that was brilliant, by the way, thinking about that.
I was like, I wish, I miss the days when that box was on your ship and not my ship.
Well,
Well,
I
it was
never had a ship. so-
on Vinaya's ship not too
For
long
4
ago.
days. Mhm. I
Um,
guess, no,
one thing that makes me
I don't think we should put it on Black Razor's box because I don't want there to be any possibility of the 2 of them communicating.
and also Epic wanted the weapons.
Of course he does. He's working with Clockwork and
He offered to trade us. He offered to send us back for one of the weapons instead of for the ring.
I thought you didn't have the weapons.
Well, we didn't, and also we wouldn't have. But I don't want him to get any ideas that he could pull the ring and Black Razor through somehow. I would love to propose that a sword that destroys souls sounds like something I would love to run through Epic. And that seems like it would solve our problem.
I am deeply uncomfortable with giving Black Razor any opportunity to leave that box.
Likewise,
This
and
would
just
be like the
because
one.
it doesn't make it
Do you? Is
correct.
that? I have to ask Jared a question. Does the myth of Pandora's box exist within?
What are you doing?
No, but I will say, I see what you're getting at. Let's say the better equivalent would be I know what I'm trying to reference, but I forget the name of it. Hang on, give me one moment.
Doropan's box.
Black Razor's
Sorry, guys.
box. It's a circular reference.
Um,
I'm still listening. I'm just, but I'm gonna be away.
okay. Assuming I understand what you're going for, the Book of Vile Darkness would be the closest artifact in this world.
Sounds likely. I don't know specifically why that would come up, but I think I have an idea. So I'm gonna start saying things and let me know if I'm off track. There is a book by the name of the Book of Vile Darkness, an ancient and dark artifact that perhaps you've heard the myths of at some point. There are many that have felt that there is some small tidbit of information just on this one page, just this one paragraph, just this one time, that perhaps if they didn't keep it in their mind for more than a moment, it would be no problem, or just a small risk. Many of them went on to slaughter thousands. Not of entirely their own will, corrupted by the book, egged on to read more of it, to allow it to take up more and more of their mind and soul until they did not exist any longer, and it was just the book operating through them. Black Razor, I worry, is a similar entity.
Okay, but Vinaya is still fine, it seems. Unless you are worried that Vinaya is on this path already and is moments away from snapping and slaughtering thousands. Vinaya?
I mean, not currently, because it's in a box.
Right, and we can put it back in a box.
Can we?
But we did it once.
Being able to succeed at
Did it
something
once.
once does not mean that we'll be able to do it again.
It's a good indicator.
It is not. It is not worth the risk.
Okay, let me just be clear about what the risk is. And in
Yes.
fact, I would not even call it a risk. It is a reality, is that we have a very, very bad man currently sitting in the Shadowfell, taking it over and drinking the juice of a god.
Indeed.
If we have an opportunity to kill the bad man very permanently in such a way that we know he dies, I think it's a good call.
I am
to
no
do
longer even advocating for the morality of such a choice. I am saying that we are the best chance there is of stopping that, and there is no need to let loose a risk upon us that could lead to us being slain and destroyed prior to us having an opportunity to do anything about that threat.
I have a question. We're worried about Epic taking Black Razor, is that right?
No, we're worried about what happens if I take Black Razor again.
Two different factions worried about two.
I'm worried about Epic taking Black Razor.
If Epic could take Black Razor, why hasn't he already?
Well, I don't
Because we haven't
imagine
super
that he
glued it.
can. I'm concerned about them talking is more what I was referencing before.
Can I make an Arcana check to whether I think that is possible if those were in proximity to each other?
Yeah.
Oh, one moment. Nat 20.
While Black Razor's ability to communicate seems to rely on proximity, you know that the Ring of Mind Shielding does not. The Ring of Mind Shielding only operates through a sentient thing wearing it.
I see. So do I think Black Razor would be able to communicate one way to the ring?
If someone were wearing it and Black Razor spoke to the person wearing it, the thing inside the ring could hear it. Without a person wearing the ring, there is no way to listen.
Okay. The ring requires a wielder to be able to speak or hear. If the ring were detached from any individual and none were attuned to it, Black Razor and the ring would have no means of communication.
So then proximity to Black Razor is not actually an issue for this.
For this very specific situation.
I change my mind. I
do-
think Thane's idea is a good one. It does keep our two most problematic magic items in a
More
convenient
manageable.
single package. Let's do that.
So we'll be cutting off your friend's finger then?
Unless there's a way to unglue it.
Some magic could remove sovereign glue, but it is beyond my ability.
Cutting it is.
Dailu,
Yes.
you still had concerns about this approach.
Well, what happened when we went to the Shadowfell to Wave and Riffraff?
We did not see them. I believe Thane mentioned that Trespasser had spoke.
Yeah, I talked to Trespasser about it. Yeah, your weapons we didn't have either. Trespasser said,
With us?
huh?
They came back with us?
Yes.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I wasn't there. Did they?
Yes, they did. They arrived the same time you did and clattered at the ground at your feet.
Yep, and they did not disappear with you. Or they, as far as we were concerned, you had them. Even though you didn't.
Until Trespasser informed Thane.
Yeah, I talked to Trespasser. Trespasser said they were in some other world or something, and it was as if they were dreaming, or it was where they were before they were made, that sort of thing. So, funky magic stuff. I don't know. Ask Thane.
Tyler's like, I know it. Okay. So they sort of went with us, in a way. I guess I just don't want Black Razor to go through into the Shadowfell, but if Riffraff and Wave couldn't come with us...
Has anyone told Winter that Echo made these weapons?
I think that it would have come up with Vane talking about this. Because Vane has not been withholding information about stuff.
Okay.
And that's
All right.
a pretty important piece of information.
Winter would say to Vinaya, Vinaya, do you remember the story that you read?
Yes, with the Kenkus and the shield. Yes.
If these weapons were crafted by someone of a place other than the prime material plane, and they didn't want them to be used against them,
it would make sense for them to somehow disallow them from even being brought to that plane in question. But I thought that Echo was from the Feywild.
The Feywild and the
plane.
Shadowfell are very similar places, an overlapping plane with the prime material.
if I were to create such an enchantment, the strongest boundary I could anchor it to is the one around the prime material.
Do you think it likely they can't leave the prime material plane at all? That any sort of planar travel would end up with them stuck in this sort of...
I can only say that such a precaution would fit with what we know.
And that would make sense of why she sort of laughed it off when we threatened to use them against her.
Indeed.
Damn it. Damn it!
If it was not this, it would likely have been another safeguard.
Yeah, I guess.
Does that mean that that one of these weapons, if its wielder went to another plane and never returned?
I assume that such a safeguard would dismantle itself if the wielder were no longer attuned to it, and the weapon would return to the prime material. Purely an assumption, but as Echo seems to wish for these to exist in the prime material plane as temptations for mortals, it's what
And
I
that would fit. If that fits how these weapons have a history where they appear and disappear throughout history.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So we're playing cut off finger then. Sounds like there's nothing stopping that.
There's one other reason why I think we might be in less danger of Epic taking the ring back than it appears, and that is that he couldn't get it from Althen for whatever reason. He either could not leave Barnabas's estate or whatever. Either he couldn't leave it, or he couldn't go to where Althen was. And that was in Kronos. We were a long way from Kronos, and as far as I could tell, it was geographically bound, and so it was like the real city. We're out on the ocean. Even if he had some other person he was going to send to try to get it from us, they'd have a long way to go.
And it sounded like
That's true until we arrive in Rodan.
I'm not saying it's a great permanent solution. I'm like, maybe we still want a way to get.
It gives us time.
Yes, exactly.
it sounded like he also couldn't get the ring from you guys once you had it. Something about it had to be given or something, right?
Well, I am not convinced on that front. I'm pretty sure he would have just killed us and taken it.
Real fast, a thing that Oren would have said while describing that was also an assumption of Oren's, not like a thing that we approve.
Oh, okay.
So Winter would ask, assuming you cut off Captain Oren's finger,
Thank you.
what shall I be researching?
At the risk of putting you off one more time, Winterstorm, that is what I would like to discuss with everyone.
Of course.
Once Epic can no longer listen to us.
Yes, well, I'll await the surgery then.
I've got just the surgeon.
Yes!
At long last.
So glad we have Stitcher.
Tyler goes to get on.
Ryan, this is something you couldn't have done.
Chop off someone's limb.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm qualified here.
Have we just like gone full circle about the whole surgeon, the need of a surgeon thing?
Yes.
Venaya dons her void flail. See, I can do it.
I still have a long sword. That's fine.
All right, so are you
Finger not hand, finger not hand.
Stitcher can take off the finger. I can. heal
Yes,
the
Jared.
wounds with
We're
my
getting
stuff.
Oren.
you're getting Oren back into the room? Okay. Oren, return.
Can I have done a thing while that was going on?
Yes.
I'm gonna go away and just kind of by myself, just Epic.
Oren, I've learned from you that given a bowl of porridge, you will ask for a feast. So I want you to know up front that I see no benefit in entertaining any kind of deep conversation in which you think you may glean information or beg favors or threaten that you will one day close our little relationship in a way that is satisfactory to you and your friends.
I wasn't planning on asking any of those things.
Well, then I look forward to the surprise.
How are you doing?
Ah. I'm pleased that our game will continue.
I wish we had a chance to speak more while I was still near you, and was disappointed that didn't happen.
Yes,
For
well,
reasons that I think you might assume are because I was hoping to get something out of it, but genuinely I'm just disappointed that I'm here and you're there, and this is how we're speaking now.
Orin, the path was always available to you, but I understand why your values could not allow you to choose it.
Well, thank you. For what it's worth, I wish you were different.
I think in a way you mean that you wish I was better, and I wish the same of you.
That's not entirely wrong. I wish that too. And that'll be it. And
All right.
when I get called back in, I'll go back in. So, what's the plan?
Finger off. Sorry.
Yeah, say goodbye to your little pinky finger.
I don't know why we
what
must
are we-
antagonize
what are we-
him.
He makes a fist. What's the plan for the ring?
We can't tell you that.
Doing something.
Okay, that's fair. I look at Vane and Vinaya. Vane and Vinaya. I like everyone but Thane and Dylan. Are we
Indeed.
good? Is this the way we want to do this?
Indeed. We believe it to be
Alright.
the best path forwards.
All right. He whips out a dagger, puts it on his finger, and it's just
Hey,
Make a
or slams it into it or whatever. Like he
Hang on,
starts
hang on.
going at it and trying to.
I
set
don't
it up.
think-
hang on. Make a Constitution save.
Okay. Ooh, I have proficiency in that.
Good.
And I have luck points again because we're playing with mechanics.
Don't forget wild magic. Let's throw that into here.
ugh,
23.
wow.
Okay, so I'm going to describe what happens. You take your dagger and you place it. You put it against something, I assume, so that you have
I put my
something.
hand against something and I just kind of. My camera's off. I just
You-
bring
yeah,
it down
you
as hard as I can.
You'd have to do it like the proper way you cut vegetables, so that the tip of the knife creates a point of leverage that you slam down your finger underneath.
Yeah.
Yakuza style.
It's not gonna. A dagger is a stabbing weapon. This
I
is.
assume he's using a dagger he has with a blade. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm not just like taking a stick. Like
Right.
I've got something that'll slice.
Let's say you got an appropriate knife from the kitchen while you were away, since you
Yeah.
seemed to have known this was coming.
God.
Yeah.
So you get halfway through, and it catches on the joint. The Constitution save is that you have the willpower to continue the cut yourself. Do you continue the cut?
100%.
You continue the cut, and then you pass the fuck out.
Oh,
This is harder than and then I pass out.
Tyler's just like,
is the cut finished?
hey,
Is the finger off?
The finger is off.
Okay, then yeah, I heal him back. Heal him to full.
I have been dealing with this. This is what I have been dealing with.
I know. I'm sorry.
I have been restraining this man from killing himself for 11 days.
I believe you.
Bane picks up the ring.
The
With the
finger.
Yeah, the finger ring.
When
Yeah.
Vinaya heals me, do I wake back up or is it?
Yes, you
Okay.
wake up. So you now, hang on, mechanically, a thing has just happened. You have just given yourself a real injury.
Yeah.
I am going to say the consequence of this injury is that you have permanently lost 3 maximum hit points.
Okay.
Nice.
That's-
And
That is
Thank you.
3/4 of the ones I earned at my new level.
so please mark that that is the origin of those hit points being lost, so that if in the future a regeneration spell is cast on you, you will regrow the finger and get them back.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't know a pinky would be worth that many hit points.
Had to improvise because finger is not on the permanent injury table. But
Wow.
I felt that this
Honestly, for Oren's hit points are so low, 3, 1, whatever.
If they get through Wave's barrier, it's over.
He pops back up and is like, whew, all right, that was a little harder than I thought, but you want to do something right. All right,
Is
what's the
Oh.
plan?
So the finger is just lying on the ground right now.
It
No,
should
I
be
think
safe
that-
to speak
like,
around
hey-
it now. Right, because does that break the
Yes.
attunement?
This is actually, so I didn't want to correct you on this, but the important part of the functionality of the Ring of Mind Shielding is all predicated on it being worn.
Got it.
It is not currently being worn by any living thing. So as far as any of you know, it is not functioning in any way and cannot.
It is
Is-
now safe to speak around the ring.
Is Stitcher here?
Yeah, Stitcher walked into the room, witnessed Oren cutting off his own finger, and then turned around.
Oh no, I catch him and
I
I'm like,
wake up.
Stitcher, can you kind of? I know this sounds gross, but can you kind of clean this up? Make it just a ring.
I'm generally fixing the other half of this wound, but
Yeah,
sure.
no, let's not have anyone touch the ring just yet. Maybe. That
I
It
okay?
will-
stick my finger into my stump and I say heal and cast Healing Word, hoping that it'll just close up my finger stump.
I thought Vinaya already healed your
Then
stomach.
I already healed you.
Oh, did she? Oh, she. Okay, I thought you said
Sorry,
Stitcher was
I
working
did
on
that.
me.
I don't know how long I've been muted, but
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
Vinaya did that. So when you woke up, your finger was healed over.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
so Stitcher tells you to wait a certain number of hours, and then the finger will basically stop bleeding on its own because a finger only has so much blood in it, and then they
You said-
leave.
Okay.
You said worn,
Alright.
right?
Huh?
You
Yes, it
said
has to
worn,
be.
right?
Yeah, the ring has to be worn.
So picking up the finger doesn't count as wearing it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
We're good to talk.
All right. So now what's the plan?
Can I use a whelm and smash the ring real quick?
Thane is currently holding it, so you'd have to
Oh,
ask
okay.
their permission.
Thane, can I smash the ring with whelm right now?
No. We are not destroying the ring until we know what destroying the ring does.
Yeah, it sounds like we need more research into what's going to actually happen before we do anything.
Okay.
Very dangerous.
But we do know that eventually, once we clean this grossness out, that we're going to glue it to Black Razor's box.
There's a certain amount of
Ooh.
grossness that will remain.
Sure. Vane, you tell your magic stuff that you learned. And we basically go back over the stuff that
Yeah.
we know that it can't communicate with Black Razor. It's nice to have this next to our only other magical baggage, Vinaya's burden. And yeah.
Yeah. And we plan to glue it to the box, essentially.
Yep.
Okay.
Tyler would ask Winterstorm to leave for this immediate conversation.
She would respectfully.
Go ahead. Sorry if I cut you off, Devin.
Oh no, it's probably actually a question that Winterstorm would be more interested in there about the logistics of the shape-changing property of a ring that now has a sovereign glue inner shell. So we'll deal with that later. It was just curiosity because it fits to the person that puts it on.
Oh yeah. As soon as everybody's out, Tyler says, the reason I felt like we needed to get rid of the sort of epic listening in problem before we decide exactly what we're doing with the ring is we need to decide exactly what we are doing about epic. It is my opinion that if we can find a way to get back to the Shadowfell and or destroy him, that it is in our best interest to do so as soon as possible.
It does sound like he's another problem we need to take care of. Him, Echo, who knows?
I do not intend to leave the prime material until I have ensured the safety of my brother.
yes,
Sounds like Albert first.
yes.
I feel like also it's probably worth I think we should take the route of trying to kill Epic through the ring as long as we're here with Winterstorm Vane. Does that sound like a good plan to you? Like, let's just try and go for gold if we're going to try anything.
I agree. I just think if we are going to go for it, we should have a means to get to the Shadowfell if it doesn't work.
Agreed. We should continue our now joint research into how to pursue various entities into various extraplanar regions to hunt them down and slay them.
Agreed. Because, and
Go ahead.
the reason I bring this up particularly is that, we don't know exactly what Epic was doing to the King of Rhodes, but we do know, my best guess is that he's sort of just sucking the blood out of him. And if we can stop that process, if we can reverse it, we might actually be able to undo what we did and bring the King of Rhodes back. I mean, he was there, he was...
If that is possible, that would be quite excellent. Can Vane roll a religion check on that theory?
What was the theory? Sorry, I was reading something.
We might be able to bring the King of Rhodes back if we were able to reverse the draining that Epic is doing.
Oh, interesting. I'm going to say the religion check won't matter because there's nothing you could have heard that would give you confidence in that, because this is anything like that has ever happened in the history of religion. So you have no chance of succeeding at that role.
Sato's going to make Sorry.
What was Sato saying?
Sato's going to make a quick quip and say, if I was killed by a bunch of people that I didn't expect to be killed by, and then I suddenly wake up, I think I'd want to kill all those people.
Thank you.
Possible, but point A, we still have a bunch of weapons that could kill him again. Point B, if I was killed by a bunch of people and then they resurrected me and explained what was going on and also that we had a common enemy, maybe I would choose not to kill those people.
Only we had that conversation with him before. Things would have gone better and differently. If only we had screamed at him, "We have a common enemy. Please help us. Don't make us kill you." That would have been a great idea, Dailu. Why didn't we think of that before?
Oren?
Epic draining him is not what I don't think that's what's keeping him. He died and went there. And I don't think Epic is reversing what Epic did is going to change the fact that we sent him there. But
he's a god, Oren, and for what it's worth, he seemed more whole and more present than most of the other things there. He was still doing god stuff.
Would Vane feel that potentially that is at least something that's worth researching? The theory that died.
I can't give you any.
Okay.
advice on that.
Vane feels like it's worth researching then.
Okay, I'm gonna set a goal for the group that in the next 5 minutes you know what research you are setting Winterstorm on and who is helping, and if people are not helping, what they are researching on their own.
Can we say that we've glued the ring to the box?
Yes. It will take another ounce of sovereign glue.
Okay.
Cool.
You have 1 ounce remaining.
Okay. The last thing I wanted
Yes.
to clarify is the rest of Orin's finger still on this glue ringed ring, or
Yes.
did we remove the rest of the finger?
There is no. Oh, I see. Like, did you cut the rest of the finger away?
Yeah, I wanted to clean it up. That's what I was asking for Stitcher to do, but I'll do it if I need to.
Okay, you can get Stitcher to do that. I see what you were asking. So yes, Stitcher can remove as much of the finger as is possible. So there is
Thank you.
a ring of skin inside the ring.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Cool. And we've glued it
This
to the
is the most-
box.
Gruesome problem solving.
Sorry, Jared.
I think we should have Winterstorm and whoever's helping research on how to try and kill Epic through the ring.
We need to be real specific about what kill means. Do we know, like Fane,
Destroy.
you know this stuff. We killed him before.
Indeed.
What we need to do is destroy his soul or put it somewhere else.
It is possible that destroying his soul would not be necessary. But I do believe that destroying his soul would solve the problem. We've lost Scout. But I
Discord
do
has-
believe that destroying his soul would solve the problem, and I do acknowledge that if we were to research something less than that, we may be wasting our time, because that may not be sufficient. It is
I
very important that we do not remove Black Razor from that box, however.
Well, we can't get Black Razor to him in the Shadowfell anyway. So,
I am
think
comfortable with us pursuing the goal of destroying Epic's soul using the ring in which part of his soul resides, or is channeled, however that might function.
I
Are there
agree
any
in general with Jane and Orin. That's all.
Diver's nodding. This sounds good.
I don't want to lose track of the perhaps greater objective, which is killing Echo.
On that note, now that Epic is gone, I have information about that we should look into. I want to put that on the table for. We'll finish this conversation, but that's a
4
thing that
minutes.
is
Let's
important.
focus on what to do with
Yeah.
Winter Storm. Sorry, Jared.
Did we just agree on that, though?
I've trained you in design.
Because we didn't. Because I was saying if Winterstorm can only be researching one thing at a time, which is true, is it worth diverting her from?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes. We know that Echo generally operates on long timetables. The slaying of the god of roads is something that happened emergently for her, in a fashion that she's happy about, but it wasn't her goal to usher it along on such a short timetable as happened. What is happening now in the Shadowfell is urgent. Someone is actively draining the divinity, the divine blood of a god, and taking on that mantle, is how I interpret these events. That sounds imminent.
Yes.
I have so many more questions, but
I'll just say this. A few things about what Epic is doing. Yes, Vane is right. The other thing he is doing is reigning over a city of people he murdered. And I recognize that may not be a practical concern, but it's something I have a hard time stomaching, the idea of us allowing to continue happening. Secondly, if we can undo what we have done with the King of Roads, we are absolutely putting a stick in Echo's eye. She's been working on us killing him for a very, very long time.
Sorry.
This is
yes, it will piss her off. I want her dead.
One sec. We're talking about the. Are we comfortable with landing on the thing about what we're doing next, or are we still debating that at the moment? I want to clarify because we started to trend into other Echo talks. Sorry.
I have raised all of this within the context of what Winter is meant to be researching next. But it sounds to me like I'm the lone holdout here.
Sorry,
I think so.
lone holdout on what? Sorry, I'm not catching.
on
Whether we ask Winter to change research topics to how we kill Epic versus how we're going to deal with Echo.
Oh, I think I would go for the former then, considering how dire Vane just made it sound.
Yeah, I agree. I think Epic is more important here as well.
All right, so I think I hear the research topic for Winter is how to destroy Epic, specifically from here, theoretically using the ring.
Yes.
That sounds great, and I agree.
And we are defining destroy as destroying the soul because
Right.
that's the most sure thing that we can think of to be effective.
Okay, and so Winter would tell you. Okay, actually, yes. She says nothing like that has ever been done, but I certainly can't say that the impossible would preclude us given what we achieved earlier yesterday. So I will begin my research. And she asks
Thank you,
if Vane and Orin will be assisting each evening.
Yes.
There will be times when I am researching other things, but yes, I will on and off. I'll be helping. I'll be bouncing back and forth if that's possible, Jared.
I'm going to ask you to pick, because we're going to do downtime from here. I'm going to ask you to pick one goal for downtime.
Is it downtime per day or over like a week?
Over a long period of time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that then in my downtime.
Okay. Vane will devote any time he's not fulfilling his first mate duties to this research.
Okay.
Winter?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if I think we kind of skipped over this. Dailu and Orin would not be here without you. Thank you so much. I am forever in your debt.
The debt has already been repaid. The fleet would not be here if it weren't for all of you.
Glad to have you back on the crew.
You're a hell of an enchantress, Winter.
Indeed.
Thank you all. So one thing that's going to happen, well, actually, I'll get to this later.
At the risk of reopening a discussion, Dailu has something to say to Vinaya on the subject of hopefully bringing her around to this topic. But
Yeah.
well, you guys can talk about whatever you want, but I will say that my goal is to pick what the rest of your group is doing for downtime for the foreseeable future while this research is going on and the voyage continues. Because there's nothing else pressing, but you can share as much information as you want and discuss whatever you want.
yeah, Dailu's last thing would just be like, I want to kill Echo too, but in the meantime, she has made a hell of a mess of this plane, and the only way I can currently think of us fixing the actual mess is to do something about the absence of the King of Roads. Because in the meantime, while we hunt down Echo, people are drowning at sea, their crops are being destroyed, roads are being flooded. This ain't...
Is that what you've seen happening on the continent?
I mean, no, but I can only assume if it's happening here.
You are probably right.
I just want to make sure we still have a world to protect by the time we get to her.
I'm not so certain that a god can be so easily brought back from the dead. But I think it is, if it's possible, it is
Orin,
right to try and fix what we've done.
Orin, you mentioned that you guys fought San, right? Did you happen to figure out who he was?
We didn't.
We didn't.
Oh, what was this about fighting San then, Jared?
They didn't fight San. San was there when they woke up. San was talking to Epic, but then they had a disagreement, and he teleported away to Pale River.
The Pale River.
Oh, okay. I had, for some reason, I thought I heard somebody fought San.
Yeah, and this was, well, they argued, Epic and,
Okay.
and I don't remember how I phrased it, but yeah, and that was before we woke up. We never actually saw San at all.
Okay. Okay, never mind then. That didn't happen.
Orin did say, or was in the middle of saying, something about having more information about killing Echo.
That's true, right?
Devin, you're muted.
Yeah. No, sorry, I was typing to Jared. Yeah. So okay, we were in Kincaid's library, which was fully intact, and we were able to do some research. One thing I came upon was, let me pull up the document real fast. Jared, can you tell me the name of the Fey entity so I can search it in the document? Do you remember?
The
The
dancer?
one with no hands.
The dancer had no.
Yeah, so there was a story about. Not actually showing me.
Do you want me to show you, or if you've got it?
I think I got it.
Okay.
So yeah, I found a story about a powerful Fae named the Dancer. It was a Fae spirit of some kind who was unique in having been born or created, I'm not sure, without feet. They are obsessed as a result with cursing mortals to dance until they died of exhaustion. And Kincaid noted throughout the story that the details of Fae missing something symbolic from their biology is something that comes up a lot with Fae. Fae being born without eyes or without teeth or without hands. I don't know what that means. I have this story here as well, The Wayward Prince, that I haven't had a chance to read yet, but this also seems like something that might be connected. It might be nothing, but it's information on Fae that might give us a window into Echo's thoughts or process or being. I don't know.
Indeed, that is very helpful information.
And then the suitcase is full of books that we haven't even read yet. We just scooped up a bunch on our way out, so I don't know what's in there. But that's all more Fae stuff from Kincaid's library that if someone wants to go through while we're helping with Winter Storm, that might be helpful.
I'd be happy to start making a dent in it.
Can you remind me again what's up with this trunk? Like,
it's fixed. It's
We
fine.
literally just found it, and it seemed every time we'd set it down, it felt like that's really cool luggage. You should bring it home with us.
Tracy got it. We're good. Yeah, it's fixed. I forgot. Sorry. Good job, Vinaya.
Thank you.
Thane's been cursed to constantly start worrying about the luggage.
It's great.
I've got 2 more level 3 spell slots. Come here, I got you.
Who would you guys say is, or at least Jared, question, like, who is the most knowledgeable about the current pantheon of the 5?
On the ship?
Pretty much, yeah.
I would say whoever has training in religion has knowledge on.
I mean,
the
I
council.
have lots of training in religion, just not this one.
Okay.
It's so weird, Vinaya. It's like you've picked up all these details on the way that help you pass skill checks related to their knowledge.
I have been pretty careful every time I ask
Oh, really?
a question that's like from my, is there anything in my
From
story,
your point of view. Gotcha.
in the context of,
Okay.
of my religion?
I can only say.
Well, then it's wave.
That makes sense.
I can only say that Sato isn't necessarily unaware of the 5, but so much as it's never been a part of her like actual training. But I do vaguely remember from all sorts of known knowledge that the 5 are not necessarily like always been there. They're
There are
scattered group that you mentioned before that's like popular with Umalabar and whatever. Those are like ancient ones or something.
there are religions that are known historically to be older than the 5 god kings. Like the records of some religions are older than the records of the god kings. But the organization of the god kings is the really only thing in the history of the 3 continents that would be recognized from our point of view as an organized religion. The Temple Sky is a loose druidic organization, and the Church of Unnamed Stars is like at most Unitarianism. It's yeah, as a organized religion, the God Kings are the only game in town.
Okay. But they just in terms of all modern culture, the God Kings have always been around.
The God Kings have been around as long as the Torchline.
Okay.
There were different gods worshipped in the kingdoms of Mekuna before the fall,
And
but most of those gods are not worshipped openly now.
yeah, and from what we've learned, it's implied by the age that around in the age of giants or whatever it would have been referred to, there was another set of gods that may or may not be associated with the current God Kings.
Right. The giants who predate the Torchline had 5 gods as well, and there was some
Oh, okay.
association between them that you guys saw.
So it's technically not even clear that they're not the same gods; they're just different names of the same gods.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Then yeah. Then my question is moot because I was going to ask: has anybody had any like religious knowledge of the rise of a god?
I mean, the closest thing would be Vinaya's knowledge of. She often doesn't describe her god as a god, but it is a story that sounds very real and historical from her perspective, at least as I understand it.
So like an entity that just came from nothing, but knowingly
Well.
became a god,
Uh,
or rose up in prominence as a god. You know.
I guess.
Was a
I mean,
person, right?
yeah, what was a person, developed sort of a system of beliefs, and after her death, or her, at least her, the cessation of her mortal life in the material plane, was worshipped as not like sort of an all powerful, like creative deific force, but at least as some sort of deity granting divine powers.
Okay.
Yeah,
So a higher order being, basically.
something like that.
Okay.
I mean, I think I have sort of envisioned her as sort of like a bodhisattva figure, like.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
When she
Yeah.
was a child, they laid before her a player's handbook, a dungeon master guide, the monster's manual, and they asked, which one of these belongs to you? And
Yeah.
she said, these are 4th edition, I won't touch them.
Tyler would kind of perk up at that though and be like, well, maybe that's a way we could look at it then. No, not like, hey, how do you bring a god back from the dead, but how do you bring a god to life?
Right. How do you make someone fill this space? Who's not epic?
I do believe
Right.
it would take a significant amount of research that we would have difficulty pursuing concurrently with.
Just
Oh,
another
right,
thing
right.
to think
I'm not
about.
saying it's a priority to learn about now, but I'm just saying that like reviving a dead god just seems kind of out there. Whereas if gods have a history of having roads to prominence, then that might be something where we can pursue sometime later about replacing the god of roads.
So I want to get back to what the downtime activity is for the other 4 of you.
Oh, okay.
So just in the immediate, so that I can move time forward a little bit. I'm just going to pick on you, Thane. What is
Sure,
Thane
sure,
going to be
back.
doing when not working as the navigator?
That's a good question. Sticking with Dailu.
Okay.
I don't think I have anything specific that I'm doing.
Okay. Vinaya, what are you actually, you just lost your job on the ship. What are you going to be doing? What are you going to be doing all day, every day?
I mean, I guess if I can do it all day, every day. I mean, I'll start reading the books from our giant suitcase of books. Like, I was kind of assuming I would go back to whatever the strength check thing that I was doing was before, helping on the crew in some fashion.
Yeah, helping the bosun.
Yeah.
You'll be working closely with Madoka.
Yay.
Oren would ask that if you are going to start reading, that you do start with that Wayward Prince one specifically, and he'll give you that book.
Oh, sure.
Who else? Scout. What do you do? What's Riley doing every day? When not captain.
When not captaining, yeah. I think Diley would actually want to do whatever she can to help with the research.
The winter research?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's not good at these things, but her notion is that she can help like catalog stuff or like look for keywords.
Sure, get coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. She's the captain. She doesn't get coffee for people.
Oh.
I'll get someone to get you coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
Thane, get them coffee. And by the way, I'll follow you because you need me to be with you.
Yeah. Because we cannot be separated ever again.
Sato, what will you be doing?
So this is, well, actually, I don't have a role on the ship. So generally, practical stuff with the ship in terms of defense and any other time is either continuing to do hammer kata with Whelm, and also I might take a gander at the luggage of books if there's anything in there about weapons, mystical weapons. Then you can make that up as you will. But
Hey,
yeah.
Sato, are you proficient with martial weapons by any chance?
only the ones I choose. I'm not all.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Tyler's proficient with martial weapons.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, probably.
Zane's proficient with martial weapons.
I don't
That's
think.
nice.
I guess I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I should note, since reminded me when saying this, that if Anaya finds anything in any of these books that has to do with her sort of tertiary goal of figuring out how to destroy Black Razor, that she's gonna just like set that aside.
Okay.
Keep that.
I will let you know if any opportunities for that come up. But that won't be the focus of your research, because similar to Oren, you must pick one focus.
Yeah. It's just like, I'll put this in a pile for later. Like, I'll put a post-it note on this page and come back to it.
Does everyone now see the worship map in Roll20?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is the Forge Bunny. Box 3 is Dilu's room. Boxes 2 and the 211s are available for other people, but it is expected that you share those rooms. Can everyone pull in their token? This also doesn't use the grid because the map doesn't fit the grid because the ship is offset poorly. But if you can just place yourself in the room where you sleep.
Which room did you say was like the common sharing room?
2 and both 11s are available.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Oh, is there? Hang on, let me pull the right. Are we? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's all of us.
Yep, this is all of you. So the 4 of you can share this room, and Thane is gonna sleep. I assume pull a cot into Dilu's room.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I want to check an assumption, and you guys can change this if you want. Because you now have these goals where you are working on certain things together, is it safe to assume that you're all working the day shift and then sleeping at night at the same time, or do some of you want to be working during the day and working at night and sleeping during the day?
I think Dailu and I at least have to be on alternating shifts as first mate and captain.
Oh yes, that's true.
I would be willing to take a night shift with Vane.
Okay, can the people who are on the night shift, which will include the first mate, can you put, actually I'll put it on Vane. Anyone who's going to work the night shift, please put this symbol on your character.
How do you do that?
It's, you click on your token and hit the thing just below your token that comes up, the black circle with the white circles inside it.
Okay, and which one is it?
It's the one next to the poison symbol. It's
Me?
just under the blue
What?
dot.
Yep. Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
no, Vane, because never mind.
Don't worry.
Funny.
Okay. So is this the night shift? The night shift is Vane, Vinaya, and Sato.
Seems so. Man, guys, left in that box for so long.
All right. Is everyone okay with time moving forward?
The only thing is that before this day ends, probably in the evening, Dailu needs to talk with Thane.
Oh, yeah.
I think Vane would really want to bring up the arrows. Because
okay.
multiple
With-
people approached him about the arrows and talked about how important it was to talk about the arrows, and then we never talked about the arrows.
I don't think Ryan even knows about these yet, do I?
No.
Jared's got something.
Are there any other? I just want to check all the conversations that people want to have before the end of this day. So the full group arrow conversation, and then a Thane and Dailu conversation. Is there anything else? Okay, let's do the arrow conversation with the full group.
Orin, you had mentioned that Vane's pulling out the 3 anchor stone arrows. That it was likely that we needed to have a conversation about these arrows. Dailu, you also approached me, and it seemed that you also believed it would be best to discuss them. For the remainder of the group who are unfamiliar, these are a set of 3 Fey anchor stone arrows that I crafted from the anchor stone. The purpose that I crafted them for was specifically to find a means that I might be able to dispel whatever magic might have held my brother if he were to have fallen to the same magics that took Rowena and twisted her to the will of Althen.
So that's first of all amazing.
Thank you. What is it that's
And-
needed to be discussed? Sorry, go ahead.
That's it. I think that's also my question. Like, good job. Thank you for sharing. What is the discussion topic around these?
I don't know. Dailu got real pissed when she found out about it in the Shadowfell, so I warned Vane that she was a coming.
Gives Orin such a look. Well, firstly, it turns out that when you keep secrets from people, sometimes they are mildly annoyed about it at times. Secondly,
Fane gives Orin a look.
Vane gives Dailu a very confused look.
Yeah, I pointed at Vane and said, that's exactly the face I made when she got mad. Continue.
Secondly, Vane has 3 of these. There are, we don't know how many people in Vox and Kronos who may be afflicted in the same way as Rowena.
Indeed.
My only concern is that if we have 3 of these, we do not start rationing them out. Aside from this one, I will happily concede to Vane's brother. And that we find a way to multiply this resource until we have enough to save as many of the people in Vox and Kronos as possible.
I believe that is a reasonable consideration. I want to put another concept forwards to be considered. Rowena and the rest of the Triumvirate are very capable masters of the arcane themselves. If there are any that would likely have insight into how such an affliction might be dispelled, them having a presence of mind to seek out that solution may be a great boon to us.
I agree. What I do not want, just to be clear about where my concern was at, is to put us in a position where we need to choose which 3 people out of all of Vox and Kronos deserve to be alive.
Indeed.
I do not think that is a
Agreed.
conversation that the 6 of us should have. She looks at Orin like,
The point that I raised is that there is a potential future where these are the only 3 that we'll ever get, and maybe at some point because they're the only 3 we ever get, we'll have to make that decision. Not plan A.
And my point was simply that we should probably exhaust all possible options before we get to that point and not say offer any of them to Gran.
I mean, as an option to save us from the Shadowfell and escape with the ring that would help stop a god from being formed, I'm going to disagree, but we didn't have to do that. So we're back on the same page, Captain.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Ironhelm. Your opinion has been noted.
You're captain of the ship, Dailu. Calm
Yes,
down.
I am. Yes, I am. Thank you. Anyway,
All right,
that aside, Tyler's done.
is that conversation?
I think that there's. Vane would at least say one more thing, which is, very well, then we are agreed. First, we save my brother. Then, we consider what must be done with the rest.
Yes.
And if there is any research that can be done after we're done finding out how to kill Epic on how to, say, multiply a bunch of Fey arrowheads into tens of thousands of Fey arrowheads, I think we should consider that. Intensely not.
Oren is nodding as well, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say that's the end of that conversation.